Greetings, this is Ron Smalek, and I'm reading Mockingjay, which is the third book in the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins. What follows are my thoughts chapter by chapter. Now in chapter 5 of Mockingjay, we see Katniss, and she basically distinguishes something that I didn't quite catch, but there is a group of rebels who come from the districts and the capital, and then there's District 13, and she doesn't view these two parties as one single entity for the rebellion, but as two separate groups. They both have their own motivations, and so she is very keenly aware that she's being squeezed between multiple parties, as well as the refugees themselves, who aren't really part of the fight at this point. Katniss goes down with BT. She goes down to Gale and finds BT in a simulated meadow. And he gives her a voice-activated bow, which sounds like it's got some pretty cool gadgets on it. Certainly, again, we see the high-tech being really high-tech, and some of the districts have obviously had access to that, while the districts did not. Basically, they're preparing her to be the Mockingjay and to be this sort of poster child. This reminded me of the recent Captain America movie when, here's this hero who is basically made up to be on show, and when Katniss tries to say her line in sort of a posed situation, everyone realizes it's just not going to work. It's not natural, and we suddenly hear Hamish's voice, laughter coming over the live speaker, indicating that he's actually been watching, even though he's been staying out of her hair since she attacked him, and now he's back and he's ready to help because the rest of the group is ready to bungle this if they go forward with their current plan. So now at this point, Hamish basically leads what I would call a focus group, where he pulls in people that know Katniss, people from the district, people that have been inspired by Katniss either their whole lives or just since she's been a celebrity in the games. And he asks them, what are their favorite moments that Katniss has inspired them. And I thought this was a really awesome scene, not only because it's something completely different that I haven't really seen in other books, but this is a pretty good lesson for any kids out there, or even adults that are out there in the business world. And if you need to create something and you're trying to satisfy an audience, ask that audience what they want to see, or what inspired them, or what they wanted to get out of it. That will, listen to your audience, because that's an awesome tool for you to use in creating content. Then we find out that Katniss is basically going to be put into combat. She wants to go out there and be natural in that environment. They all agree to send her out with a camera crew, and she basically makes up with Hamish, and he is going to be her overwatch during this exercise. She's going to be dropped into District 8, which has just had a bombing, very low chance of fighting going on. And we also find out that all of the districts are rebelling, and they call it the war. All of the districts are at war with the capital, except for District 2. And we find out that District 2 is basically the capital's source of weaponry at this point, as well as where many of the peacekeepers come from, where they are trained and raised to supplement the capital's population. So that was pretty interesting to me, thinking about which tributes or careers came from District 2, Cato and Clove, for example, and how they were trained to be careers. Well, actually, everyone in their district is trained to be soldiers, so it makes sense that they would have the most likely chance of having strong careers and tributes. So in Chapter 6, as we're hearing about all the different districts teaming up against the capital and District 13, it suddenly made me wonder what else is happening in the rest of the world. Are they gone? Are there other capitals? Are there other districts? What else is around here? Does the capital have relations with these other countries? Because I would have thought that, they would have come into play by this point, even if the characters directly weren't wondering it, that we would have heard something about the other, because I don't think the capital of Panem has completely taken over the whole world. So let me know in the comments if you have any speculation on that. And the final thing we find out, which is a nice touch, not too surprising, is that with her suit of combat armor, Katniss is given something called Nightlock pills, which are basically suicide pills if she gets captured. And I'm thinking that the berries that she had at the end of the first book are called Nightlock, although I don't think they clearly say that that is the case.